Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to dive into a magnificent, centuries-old folktale that takes us on an absolutely epic journey. We're talking about a profoundly moving story of a young woman rising from a life of eating dry, hard bread in a harsh desert to ultimately ruling over a grand royal palace. Today, we are going to unpack this classic tale of resilience, hidden magic, and the undeniable, powerful force of cosmic justice. We'll trace exactly how our protagonist navigated unimaginable trials, literally turning her deepest sorrows into strength at every single turn.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We'll be walking through the tale of two sisters, the test of the magic streams, the sacrifice of the yellow cow, the djinn's hidden reward, rescuing the captive prince, and finally we'll wrap up with karma and ultimate justice. We are going to track her literal footsteps from her lowest, loneliest points all the way to her highest triumphs.
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the tale of two sisters.
Picture this. We begin our journey in a small, dusty desert village with a poor, pure-hearted shepherd named Baba Ghafoor. Now, he has two daughters born around the same time to his two wives, but their daily lives, they are light years apart. And this is largely because of the dark, controlling magic of his second wife, Sagra. When his first wife passes away, her daughter, Amal, is left entirely at Sagra's mercy. Sagra uses this dark magic to keep Baba Ghafoor completely blind to the abuse happening literally under his own roof. Just think about the sheer disparity here. Amal is forced into grueling hard labor as a house servant. She's scrubbing pots and pasturing sheep out under the blazing sun, and she's surviving on absolutely nothing but a single piece of hard, dry bread and a tiny pinch of salt. That's it. Meanwhile, her stepsister Liana is resting comfortably in the cool shade, casually fanning herself and feasting on freshly roasted meat, rich butter, and decadent sweets. Yet, remarkably, Amal never complains. She finds deep solace in her only true companion, which is this gentle yellow cow that she actually raised from a calf.
Which brings us to part 2, test of the magic streams.
Out near those dusty pastures, we hit a massive turning point. An old woman is sitting quietly by a rock. Liana, true to form, constantly mocks this woman and stubbornly refuses to share even a bite of her lavish, buttery feasts. But Amal, she selflessly offers up her meager, dry bread, sharing it with a gentle blessing. In return for this quiet, consistent kindness, the disguised old woman gives them a highly counterintuitive set of secret instructions. She tells the girls that on the way home, they're going to encounter two intersecting streams that have literally never existed there before. One stream will be a dark, deep, super uninviting black. The other will be bright, beautiful, and shining like liquid silver. The strict rule? Wash and drink exclusively from the dark water and completely avoid the beautiful silver stream. Let me ask you, if a mysterious stranger gave you that advice, would you actually listen? Well, Liana, who is just full of arrogance, assumes the old woman is trying to trick her into drinking dirty water. She completely ignores the warning and eagerly bathes in the shiny, inviting silver stream. And instantly, she is cursed with a horrific, unbearable stench that absolutely refuses to wash off. Amal, on the other hand, has the patience and the wisdom to look past superficial appearances. Despite how gross and unappealing that black water looks, she obeys the old woman's instructions. And the exact moment that dark water touches her skin, the air just fills with the scent of heavenly musk. The water nourishes her deeply, and she miraculously gains the radiant, luminous glow of a 14th night moon. It's an unbelievable transformation. And that leads us directly into part 3, sacrifice of the yellow cow. So Sagra is absolutely consumed by intense jealousy over Amal's newfound radiant beauty, and she's desperate to cure her own daughter's terrible stench. So what does she do? She consults a dark witch in the village who delivers a devastatingly cruel solution. The witch demands the ultimate sacrifice of Amal's only true friend, the mystical yellow cow. Sagra manipulates Baba Ghafoor's mind all over again, convincing him to slaughter the beloved animal under the guise of village charity. The night before the sacrifice, Amal has this terrifying dream and runs out to the cow, just weeping bitterly. But I want you to listen closely to what the cow communicates to her through this miraculous, unspoken connection. The cow says, "What is written cannot be avoided. There is good for you in my death. Be patient, everything will be fine." It completely transforms a traumatic, heartbreaking loss into a profoundly beautiful lesson on trusting divine destiny.
And you know what? The cow's promise was entirely true. Her sacrifice wasn't in vain. Because Amal obeyed, bearing her overwhelming grief to eat the meat of her beloved friend with immense patience and a quiet blessing, a deep, magical transformation happened. Liana's awful stench vanished entirely. And miraculously, her cold heart actually softened. She started treating Amal like a true sister. Even more incredibly, Sagra's dark, suffocating spell over Baba Ghaffur finally broke, snapping his eyes wide open to his wife's malice. And Amal, her incredible sorrow was met with a literal miracle. Her hair turned a breathtaking, radiant golden color.
Moving right along to part 4, the Jinn's hidden reward. Before the cow passed away, that old woman gave Amal one final, crucial piece of advice: preserve what remains of your friend. So, Amal carefully gathers the bones of the yellow cow and buries them safely under a large, shady tree out in the pasture. A few days later, she makes a stunning discovery. When she unearths that exact spot, she finds exquisite, radiant, fine silks, brilliant silver and gold threads, and perfect royal embroidery needles. This beautiful hidden reward is a total game changer. It allows Amal to pursue a quiet passion, gracefully channeling all her deep sorrow and grief into breathtaking, masterful art right there in the pasture.
Now this brings us to a really fascinating reveal about who is actually pulling the strings behind the scenes. The old woman returns, visiting Amal in the pasture to bring her fine clothes and sweet perfumes. When Amal asks why a seemingly poor stranger is showering her with such incredible gifts, we finally learn the truth. That mysterious old woman is actually a tremendously powerful jinn. Years ago, while roaming the earth in the form of a rabbit, the jinn was shot by a reckless hunter and was tenderly nursed back to health by Amal's late mother, so the jinn is acting as an unseen magical guardian to repay a sacred life debt. I mean, it is a stunning display of generational karma, the kindness of a mother literally reaching beyond the grave to protect her child.
All right, part 5, rescuing the captive prince. The narrative brilliantly shifts gears right here, going from mystical rewards to straight-up high-stakes action. One afternoon, while Amal is beautifully adorned and embroidering out in the pasture, Prince Arslan, the Sultan's only son, enters the area on a royal hunting trip. He spots her and is instantly captivated. He's completely mesmerized by her glowing face and golden hair. But look at the sheer contrast in their worlds. He is surrounded by heavily armed royal guards, while she is a humble shepherdess. Knowing her place, Amal quickly and quietly vanishes into the thick trees, leaving the prince desperately searching the forest for what he believes must have been an absolute dream. But let's see how this builds, because Amal's peaceful cover is about to be totally blown. A few days later, Amal hears the distressed whinnying of a horse. It turns out to be the prince's magnificent steed, riderless and completely panicked. Utilizing that unique, almost magical connection to animals that she developed with her yellow cow, Amal calms the horse and actually communicates with it, asking where its master is. The horse leads her deep into the treacherous mountain caves, empowering her to silently track the kidnapped prince and his royal guards right to the edge of a dangerous, heavily armed bandit camp. This is where Amal proves, without a doubt, she is absolutely no passive maiden waiting around to be saved. Realizing she can't fight an entire camp of armed men alone, she rides the royal horse straight to the Sultan's military camp. She strikes a daring tactical deal with the ruler himself. She is going to infiltrate the lair as bait. She actually hides a sharp dagger in her long sleeve, wanders right into the bandit camp, and just pretends to be this terrified, lost shepherdess. The bandits capture her, mock her, feast heavily, and eventually fall into a deep, drunken sleep. And that's when Amal instantly leaps into action. She cuts her own bindings, silently slices the ropes off the prince and his men, and just as the confused bandits begin to wake up, she triggers the Sultan's army to ambush the cave. It's a literal masterclass in immense, proactive courage. Which brings us to our final section, Part 6, Karma and Ultimate Justice. Following this absolutely spectacular rescue, the Sultan is just deeply moved. He doesn't just send a polite messenger with a little bag of coins. No, the Sultan himself, alongside the prince, personally rides out to Baba Ghaffur's humble, dusty home to thank the incredibly brave shepherdess. Because Amal had lost 5 of her sheep while executing her daring decoy plan, the Sultan immediately replaces them tenfold, dropping a flock of 50 magnificent sheep right at their doorstep. But let me tell you, that gesture is merely the opening act. The Sultan formally asks Baba Ghaffur for Amal's hand in marriage for Prince Arslan. I mean, just take a second to truly absorb the sheer scale of this royal dowry. 100 cows, 100 strong horses, 100 prize sheep, alongside an unimaginable, endless flow of bright gold and silver. The wheel of fortune has completely, definitively turned. It is a stark, almost unbelievable contrast to that solitary piece of dry bread and pinch of salt she survived on for so many grueling years. But what about Sagra? Well, she's listening furiously from the kitchen, and she is just consumed by pure, unadulterated rage at Amal's triumph. She pulls out an ancient dark magic book, intending to cast a horrific spell to make the prince hate Amal. And this is where we get a profound, beautiful twist of redemption. Lyanna catches her mother in the act. Remembering the sickening stench and all the misery that dark magic brought her, Lyanna makes a definitive choice. She aggressively snatches Sagra's dark magic book and hurls it directly into the blazing cooking fire. By protecting Amal, Lyanna is actively and bravely breaking the generational cycle of her mother's toxicity. As those flames literally consume the dark magic, the Djinn appears one final time to ensure the scales of cosmic justice are perfectly balanced. She exposes Sagra's lifetime of hidden crimes to Baba Ghafoor. As a result of universal justice, Sagra is banished deep into the forest, doomed to forage completely alone and drink from muddy streams. Meanwhile, Amal joyfully marries the prince, and Lyanna, fully reformed and glowing with inner beauty, catches the eye of the vizier's son, leading to double royal marriages. The universe vividly proves that pure intentions eventually construct palaces, while malice paves a straight road to lonely isolation.
This extraordinary journey from surviving on dry desert bread to ruling a magnificent royal palace leaves us with a real thought-provoking question to ponder. When faced with a choice between what glitters immediately and what is quietly asked of us by the wise, how often do we still reach for that shiny silver stream? As Amal's incredible patience brilliantly shows us, true beauty, immense reward, and lasting justice often lie far, far beyond what initially glitters on the surface.